All right, that's, yeah, and it looks like the soft tyre worked really well, actually, for them. So the inquest continues here. As we've already said, it was just a miscommunication from the engineers on the pit wall. The tyres are all here, so they would be placed kind of where that stack of tyres are in Ricciardo's garage. And then they'd be waiting for either, it was a radio call, but maybe a radio key was stuck or there was some traffic and that blocked out a radio call. The message was blocked. I'm going to go from here straight back down to Christian Horner and actually get the nitty-gritty of it, because it is important they learn. They haven't had an issue like that for so long, because they're such a professional team. It wasn't the mechanics' fault. Mechanics were sitting on two sets of different tyres saying, which one do you want us to give him? And they could also already see the flashing signs saying that Ricciardo was in the pit. They've got a big red light, because they've had issues like this many, many years ago, to tell them that he was in the pit box. And yet the guys with the tyres didn't come out because they weren't told by the engineers. So that's really unfortunate. Red Bull threw away the race today. There's no question about it. Daniel Ricciardo very upset in second. There's no doubt that in Mercedes, in Spain, as far as Mercedes threw away the race and handed it to Red Bull, here 2 weeks later Red Bull have thrown away the race and handed it to Mercedes. It's just that it's the other drivers. Let's do him. Even the motivating didn't help. And Ricciardo said he didn't even make the call. It wasn't a late call. It was a call by the engineers. So they really should have had it sorted. Max Verstappen, of course, DNF with a crash at Massenet. Let's do quickly. We're not going to do quickly. So we've got Williams and the rest to come, but we will pause to hear from the race winner, Lewis Hamilton. Join us in a sec for more Notebook. I'm not quite sure what music Lewis Hamilton is going to be sampling, but I've got quite a good idea that it's not going to be this kind of thing. But I think the Williams team have a bit more of a sort of retro feel of the music that they like to celebrate to. And good luck to them, because, well, they had some good pit stops today, yet again. And stay tuned in Canada. We're going to be uncovering the secrets of Williams pit stops and how close they get to the edge of actually having one of these tyres fall off. But they haven't had it so far. They had some fantastic pit stops. But for the time being, that was kind of the only thing that was so brilliant about their race today. It was Valtteri Bottas 11th, and had that little bit of a problem and had to go straight on and give the places back, because he went straight on at the port chicane, give the places back, and lost quite a lot of time on that. And Felipe Massa came back from qualifying, disappointing qualifying, to finish 10th. So Bottas 11th, Massa 10th, and that's kind of okay. So not quite a case of start me up, but we should have started a bit higher up. Yeah, bad joke. All right, let's have a look at little Ferrari. And it is a bit of a little Ferrari at the moment, because Kimi Raikkonen's had to go to the stewards. There's his car underneath a dust sheet. And oh look, we've got the photo going on. So Hamilton's just made his way back to the garage. We'll have a look at the second. And Raikkonen's had to go to the stewards because of that rather silly piece of driving. And a silly piece of driving into Romain Grosjean cost him his second in the championship at the moment. Ferrari got it right with the soft tyre. So just to remind you, Sebastian Vettel 4th, Kimi Raikkonen DNF. They got it right with a soft tyre, but Sebastian's suggesting that there is still a lot to do on this Ferrari car, which is absolutely correct. But a bit of a shocker, and he caused a crash. Well, Lee, why don't you go in and see what we've got, who we've got here. And there is a polite ripple of applause for Nico Rosberg, because do you know what? Rosberg actually made this race for Mercedes today. Rosberg, in moving over for Lewis Hamilton, made sure, gave Mercedes the opportunity to win this race. Yes, Mercedes needed Red Bull to have a shocker in the pits, but Nico, by moving across, and I'm sure he didn't want to do it, meant that Hamilton could actually make up the time and do what he did strategically on Ricciardo. So it was the right thing to do, and it was the only chance that Mercedes had of the win if they ordered Rosberg to move over early on, and they did it. He did it. I'm sure it doesn't stick particularly well for Nico Rosberg, but there you go. And Lewis Hamilton first, Nico Rosberg 7th. Rosberg lost that 6th place to Nico Hülkenberg, as we've already said, on the last lap. Nice bit of opportunism from Nico Hülkenberg. And you could argue that they made the switch between Rosberg and Hamilton a few laps too late. Go on, get in there, Lee. Have a look at who you can find. Oh, careful, Dr. Zetcher. Congratulations, Dr. Z. Everything okay?
Yeah, okay.
Good.
That was a great victory, one of the most important ones, with obviously everybody playing together. Obviously Lewis, but the team did strategically amazing job, and Nico was helping too. So it's a fantastic team success.
What do you mean by one of the most important ones? Why?
Well, I think we got a little imbalance into the team, and now obviously this was a tremendous success for Lewis, and we are supporting both drivers as we ever have done, and Lewis has felt that today again, and this is very good.
Imbalance, okay, I see what you mean. So it just means that they both have a confidence. Maybe Lewis can use this as a springboard to get his championship back.
Well, I'm and we are neutral. We
sure, no, of course you are, but
as far as we can. But of course, when some struggles, it's very important that he gets this strong confidence.
We hope it puts a smile back on his face.
I'm pretty confident that it will. It definitely did for me.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, thank you so much. You can see the smile under the tash, can't you? So that's Dr. Dieter Zetscher, of course, the boss, the chairman of the board of Daimler-Benz Mercedes. So he's the man who writes the checks, and a win at Monaco is worth a little more than wins anywhere else. But I can tell you why and how they managed to do it on Lewis Hamilton, because this is absolutely crucial. How did they manage to get the ultra soft tyres to last that 40 odd laps? And the reason is that on a wet to dry track, the cars are going that bit slower because it's crossover conditions. They're going 20% slower, so the strategist James Vowles explained to me, and that meant that they weren't wearing the tyres so much. So that was what gave James Vowles the confidence to put Lewis on the ultra soft tyre, which up to this point we thought could only do 20 laps, gave him the confidence that it would actually go double that, more than double that, to the end of the race. So it's just the track conditions and the cooler conditions helping those tyres along. So smart thinking, and also smart thinking to know that once the tread blocks wore down on the extreme wets, they could actually get that tyre. Experience told them that for as long as they did. These extreme wet tyres actually retained their heat and still gave good heat and good performance to the end of the race. So there you go. Congratulations, Mercedes. Commiserations, Red Bull. And I think the first time we've all seen Daniel Ricciardo with that frown and rather than a smile. More Notebook in Canada. Bye-bye.